Saturday night's main event last night felt more like Saturday Night Raw or Saturday Night SmackDown, wrapped in just enough nostalgia to keep longtime fans happy. I am one of those longtime fans. I had a blast with that aspect of the show. There were no bad matches, but there were no great ones either. A lot of them felt like they could have used more time. But you got to remember, this is their first time back on NBC in many years. I mean, I know they were on Fox, so it's not like they haven't been on network television in years and years. But it was their first time back on NBC in a long time. I don't think that was a priority for them, to go out there and put on a bunch of banger matches. They wanted to keep people's attention without going too long in each one. It's also the 2-hour format. You got 2 hours, 5 matches, most of which are title matches. And all those commercials, I mean, my God. So we weren't getting any long matches regardless. And we got the Body back on commentary. Almost 40 years after the first one at the Nassau Coliseum, to see him back on the show in the feather boa and the snakeskin jacket, which I did not realize until this morning is the exact same jacket that he wore to the Predator premiere in 1987. Okay, so he's had that thing sitting in his closet for 40 years. And he came back and did commentary for one match, and it was the most important match on the show. It was the main event. And I thought he did a great job. Jesse is 73 years old now. Jesse Ventura is not the same Jesse Ventura that he was when he left commentary in 1990. Okay, that would be impossible. But for the most part, he is the same guy. He sounds the same. He's still sharp enough where, he's not leading the commentary team. He wasn't leading the team even back then. He was the color guy. So he doesn't have to chime in as often as a Michael Cole does. But they had Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, and Jesse. So it was a 3-man booth. And McAfee, this was his first night back in a few months because he's been doing College Game Day. He and Michael Cole are going to be the team for Netflix when Raw moves to Netflix next month. McAfee last night, I mean, whatever. I mean, he was serviceable. And Cole was good, but Jesse was on point. Injecting some common sense commentary into the show. It felt like he and I were watching the same show. Whereas a lot of times their announcers have to play dumb or they don't point out obvious things that should be pointed out. And I feel like we're watching two totally different shows sometimes. Here you have Jesse. He's like, why isn't Owens going after the leg? Right? Cody wins and Michael Cole is celebrating and Jesse is like, he cheated. Your champion is a cheat and your referees are incompetent. But it's what I loved about his commentary when he worked with Vince McMahon and when he worked with Gorilla Monsoon and they would cheerlead for the babyface, like openly, especially Hogan. Boy, Vince loved Hogan. No matter what he did, right? The king of the eye rakes. Hogan could do no wrong and Jesse would always point out how biased they were. Like, I'll never forget one of my favorite Jesse commentary moments ever. SummerSlam 89. It was Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior for the Intercontinental title. They're outside the ring. And Warrior, it's like early in the match, and Warrior has the belt, and he's hitting Rude with the belt. And Jesse is losing his mind over this. He's going, that should be a disqualification. How is that not a disqualification? And Tony Schiavone says, well, Jesse, it's outside the ring. And Jesse is completely incredulous, and he just says, so you mean to tell me that you can shoot somebody so long as it happens outside the ring? Because, you're even dumber than Monsoon. Like, Jesse may have rooted for the heels, but he was always the voice of reason. And that's what he was last night. He was questioning Cody's tactics in the main event. He was questioning why so-and-so wasn't focusing on this body part or how they should go for the pin, don't play to the crowd, win the damn match. I'm glad Jesse is coming back for the next one. He's going to be there for all of the specials next year. Triple H played it safe. As he did with Survivor Series last month, he played it safe with the match outcomes. There were no, if you predicted the show, and I tried to be a little outside the box with a couple of my predictions because I was kind of hoping. I was hoping for a title change in the main event. I still picked Cody to win because I figured there's, very little chance probably of him losing the championship. But EO, I was kind of hoping there would be at least one. I was hoping there would be something, and there was nothing. If you closed your eyes, you could have predicted every single match on this show. No title changes, no big surprises, no big returns, nothing like that. They are clearly saving their heavy artillery for Netflix on January 6th. All roads lead to Netflix. And they're getting, $5 billion from them? So, yeah, they're putting everything into that show. It would have been nice to see Kevin Owens steal a title win from the Golden Boy, but he basically did. If you think about it, he basically did without officially winning the title. He stole the title. Cody's big surprise, which wasn't really a surprise at all, was the classic Winged Eagle belt, which has been worn by all of the greats: Hogan, Savage, Flair, Brett, Shawn, Undertaker, even Steve Austin, briefly. He was the last one to hold it officially. It's an iconic design. I was glad Michael Cole shouted out Reggie Parks for it on commentary. They clearly used a replica off of WWE Shop and not an old ring-worn belt or even one of the deluxe replicas, which have the thicker plates. But it still looked great. It still looked great. It's my favorite belt of all time. I was very happy to see it represented again in all of its glory on TV. The match itself, we had not one but two referee bumps. Kevin Owens introduced a chair into the ring and was not successful in using it, but Cody Rhodes was, because the chair was laying on the mat, and for the finish, Cody saw that, and he hit a crossroads to Owens on the chair, and he got the win. Cody is supposed to be the babyface. Owens is supposed to be the heel, but Cody resorted to heelish tactics to win. And in doing so, they created some sympathy for Kevin Owens in the eyes of at least some of the fans, at least until the post-match angle, which did not air on TV. And that was certainly a decision. Not the first time we've seen Triple H do this. The exact same thing they did with Owens and Cody last month. Or I guess actually it would have been Bad Blood when he had Owens pull up in his Lambo in the parking lot after the show and beat the crap out of Cody in front of his bus. And then they tried to hide the footage. Like at first they wouldn't even air it on TV. This is so heinous. We're not going to sensationalize this. We're not going to justify this by giving it airtime on our show. But it spread like wildfire on social media, and that really is the idea here. I wish it would have aired on TV, because what a great ending to the show that would have been, to draw people in. But they posted it on social media instead to drive up their social media engagement and to get people talking. That's the only reason why they did this. Owens attacks Cody from behind, and he gives him not just a pile driver, but a package pile driver. The first time that we have ever seen him use this move in WWE. This was a staple of his on the independent scene. It has been 10 years, at least, since we have seen this man use that move. That wasn't Kevin Owens in there last night. That was Kevin Steen. And then he picks up the Winged Eagle Championship, and he leaves with it. He stole the belt. He even stood on top of Cody's body at one point as Cody was strapped to a gurney. He couldn't even move. He couldn't defend himself. And he's standing on him. And people cheered. When Owens walked out with the title, people chanted, "You deserve it," at him. I don't think they were chanting that at Cody. I know some people thought, oh my God, these people are chanting, "You deserve it," at Cody as he's being stretchered away. I don't think they were chanting that at Cody, because that would be pretty fucking evil if they were. This man just got his neck broken. He's being wheeled out. And people are chanting, "You deserve it." I mean, it's New York, so I suppose it's possible. But I think they were chanting that at Owens as he left. Then you got Triple H walking out from the gorilla position just as Owens was heading to the back. And Triple H he's angry. And he shoves Owens a few times. And he was not happy about what Owens did. So this is the second person now that Kevin Owens has crippled and sent to the hospital in an ambulance. I'm sure they took Cody to Nassau County Medical Center right down the road there on Hempstead Turnpike. Owens on Twitter reacted to WWE's tweets about the incident. Because unlike the thing with the tour bus, like, they're not shying away from sharing this. Like they have plastered this all over their social media. And they uploaded the full segment to YouTube. So they posted something on Twitter about the attack, and then also video of Triple H coming out to get in Owens' face. Owens himself replied, and he did a little bit of editing to the captions for each one. A little bit of a correction. He said, after getting screwed out of becoming the undisputed WWE champion by incompetent referees, Kevin Owens justifiably gets retribution on the American person with an often imitated but never truly duplicated package pile driver, just moments after Saturday night's main event goes off the air to send everyone home happy. And then, about the Triple H video, he says, upon leaving Gorilla, Triple H enthusiastically thanks Kevin Owens for the house and tells him how proud he is of Kevin for doing what needed to be done and taking what he truly deserves, and proceeds to invite him over to his house for Christmas dinner and to watch Saturday night's main event back on a 734-inch TV. Owens is now using an old image of him holding the Winged Eagle belt as his new profile picture. He has kidnapped the Winged Eagle and is claiming it as his own. I love it. I love it because it means we get the belt back for a little while longer. This was only supposed to be one night only. And I really did. I thought that this was not even going to survive the night. I thought Owens was going to destroy the fucking thing. So it means that we get the belt back probably into early 2025. Now, I know it's not permanent. It should be, but it won't be. But we get it for more than one night. And Owens can now walk around claiming to be the real world champion, right? The uncrowned WWE champion. Just like when CM Punk came back to AEW and he had the world title and he spray painted a giant X over it. Right? I mean, his last match at Wembley, that was against Samoa Joe. He was defending his title, right? He was not officially the AEW champion, but that was the story they were going to tell with Punk until eventually, I'm sure they did some kind of unification. Never got to that. But it's the same concept. Owens can do the same thing now until Cody comes back. And so in the meantime, even though he didn't actually win the title, he gets to walk around as champion and pretend that he is, while Cody convalesces at home. It's like getting a title change without an actual title change. And that's as close as Kevin Owens is going to get to becoming WWE champion. Now, I wish they would have just had him win if that was the case, right? You could do all the same stuff that you did. You could do the ref bumps. You could introduce the chair, let him hit the pile driver and win with it. But they're telling a story here of Cody using the chair to win and Owens feeling like he was screwed out of the belt. That's the story they're telling here. The story is that Kevin Owens is justified in the eyes of some people anyway. He has a justification for doing what he did. If they did it the other way, then he's just cheating to win. He's like every other heel. So they chose to do it this way. Now they're going to have another match out of this. It's either going to be, I think it'll be on the next Saturday night's main event or maybe the Royal Rumble. Because the next Saturday night's main event is a week before the Rumble. They're going to have some big match for that show. I see it on either of those shows. I just feel like the first Netflix Raw is going to be packed enough without the need to do it there. But I guess that's also possible because they're loading that show up. Randy Orton got dropped with a far less devastating pile driver, and he has been out of action now for a month. How long are they going to keep Cody out after a package pile driver? I mean, we should not be seeing this man again for the rest of the year. He at the very least, he has to be gone for the rest of 2024. Right? There's not a lot of shows left, but at the very least, you got to keep him off television. I don't even want to hear from him for the rest of the year. Will Nick Aldis or Triple H suspend Owens for what he did? I mean, if you think about it, why wouldn't they? What he did was after the match. It wasn't even in the course of the match itself. Like if it was like a non-sanctioned match or a no-holds-barred match or something like that, you could argue, well, all's fair. But he attacked the champion after the match was already over and tried to cripple the man. Why wouldn't they suspend him? What I want to see is a segment with Owens and Triple H this Friday, but the show's already been taped. So we're not going to get anything in the arena with them. I'm sure that would have leaked by now. So it doesn't look like we're going to get that on SmackDown. Does Randy Orton come back before Cody and go after Owens first? Does Cody come back and then Orton comes back and they do a triple threat match? I would actually prefer that they don't do that, just because when we do finally get Cody against Randy in the ring, I would prefer that it be one-on-one. But these stories here, like these are the best stories. It's the ones that blur the lines where it's not just black and white. This is the good guy. This is the bad guy. Sometimes good guys do bad things. And the bad guys may do bad things, but that doesn't mean that they're wrong. I personally would not get too hung up on Kevin Owens not winning the WWE title, right? I was disappointed that he didn't. I would have had him win, but I wouldn't get too hung up about him not winning because he may be the de facto champion for the next month or so anyway. Like, he's still involved in the top program right now, outside of the Bloodline stuff, the top program in this company. He's being featured in a great spot. So while he may not officially be recognized as the champion, he's basically going to be the champion, I think, for at least the next month.